Welcome back to Hardball. In less than 30 minutes, we're expecting a news conference in Florida by Congressman Mark Foley's attorney. When that news conference happens, by the way, we're going right to it. At 5:45 Eastern Time, we're estimating it's going to start. We'll bring it right to you live from here, from this desk. How outraged are Christian conservatives by Mark Foley's exploits, if you want to call them that, and the slow response of the Republican congressional leaders? And come November, what impact will this have on their voting this November? To find out, we turn to Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Tony, thank you, sir, for joining us. Just your whole position on this. Just let us know.
Well, I think it's premature to call for the speaker or the leadership to resign. I think that may brush all this under the rug. I think we need to get to the heart of this matter, and this is shocking. I mean, this concerns people all across the country. When teenagers cannot be safe in the halls of government, you have to ask the question, where can they be safe at in this country?
Do you think the leadership of the House should have acted when they saw that Mark Foley was spending an inordinate amount of time hanging around pages, just seemingly too interested in them? Is that enough for action?
Yeah, I think there is, because in talking to some pages, you know, I've had people now on staff that used to be pages, and it was widely known to watch out for him, that he liked boys. And the question,
well, was the reputation hanging on him that he bothered boys, that he spent too much chatting with them, or he tried to seduce them? What was the reputation?
Well, the reputation that he was a homosexual and that he liked to flirt and be very friendly with boys. And so pages were warned to watch out for him. And the question is, what did the leadership know? When did they know it? What did they do, and what did they not do, and why? Were they afraid to take action out of political reasons for fear of maybe losing a seat, or were they fearful of being labeled gay bashing for approaching a gay member of Congress?
How do you know that? How do you know they had that fear? How do you know they had that fear of being called gay bashers?
That is a question that needs to be answered. Why did they not take decisive action with what they knew? And that question needs to be answered. And I think in large part, the answer to that question determines the effect this has upon voters. I mean, this is, Chris, I mean, you understand, this is shocking. And I think people, when they stop and they look at it, though, they shouldn't be totally surprised. When we elevate tolerance and diversity to be the guidepost of public life, I mean, this is what we get, congressmen chasing boys down the halls of government.
You think that's... Well, that's a fairly interesting position. I mean, look, a lot of people have different views about this. You think simply having gay members of Congress in or out of the closet jeopardizes the security of those kids who are pages?
No, I think it's the broader issue. That sounds like that's what you were saying just now. Well, that's a part of it, Chris, but it's also do we not have any sexual restraints in our society? And I think this is causing people to step back and look what's happening in Congress, where teenage boys are being, you know, solicited or at least hit on by a congressman. You know, what led us to this point? I mean, this is not the first sex scandal.
To back up your concern, and I think it's pretty universal. Congressman Foley, if you look at some of these, I'm not going to read them all into you. This isn't phone sex. I'm not going to read this awful stuff. But here he is in one of these instant messages asking a kid who's coming back to Washington, why don't we meet for a drink? We better do it at my apartment so we don't get busted. Clearly a seduction going on here with a young boy. Clearly a matter of physical contact at least contemplated and encouraged. It's not just titillating awful stuff on the email or the web, if you will. This guy looks like he's after these kids. And so the question is, you're saying that the leadership should have seen this coming.
Well, I'm asking the question, did they? What did they know? And did they not take action, and why not? I mean, I think it was widely known. Can I suggest a problem? Whenever a political party stays in office too long, it begins to resemble the Roman Empire in its final days. You see corruption, you see pork barrel, you see big spending, you see tribalism, you see all kinds of bad things occurring that doesn't occur in the first rush and excitement of a revolution, where people are too busy at work doing good things in their cause. They don't have time to do this kind of stuff. You might be right. I don't think the Republicans get a pass on this. I think they're going to have to fully explain this. This is going to impact the elections. I have no doubt that it'll impact the election. The question is the degree to which it impacts the election, and that's based upon what happens in the next couple of days and how this is explained. And again, I don't think it's resolved simply by having the leadership step down. I think this is a symptom of a much bigger problem, not only in Congress, but in the culture as a whole.
Who are you more loyal to? Your values or your allegiance to the Republican Party?
My values without question, and I think that's what you're going to find out with the majority of values voters. They have they work with the Republican Party because the Republican Party, rightly or wrongly, has been held out as the guardian of family values. This clearly is not a family value. This drives I think another wedge, a deeper wedge between social conservatives and the Republican Party.
Tough question. Should the Republican Party nominate gay men or gay women for public office? Is that a problem with you per se? Just per se?
Per se, I think that there's an indication, there's clear research that shows that homosexual men are more likely to abuse children than straight men. And when it comes to government, yes, I have a concern that any type of sexual deviancy is a problem. And I think I'm not pointing this strictly at homosexuality. I think this is a problem of dropping all sexual restraints in our society, and this is what it leads to. I mean, our kids not even being safe in the halls of government. Is that the America that moms and dad want for their children? I don't think it is.
Do you think this should be in the Republican platform for you to continue your allegiance to the Republican Party, that they stop nominating gay men or women for a public office?
Well,
how strong are you on this?
I think, I mean, that's not it. I don't think it needs to be in the platform. I think the question here was this action based out of fear of a backlash from homosexuals as being seen as gay bashers? I think they have every right to participate in the process, and if they get elected from their local constituents, that's fine. But if the party is giving deference and protection and safe haven to those who are on a path of sexual deviancy and abusing children, that's a problem.
Is that what you suspect here?
I don't know. And that's what we want to know. I've asked the Speaker that question, and we're waiting to see the answers.
Thank you very much, Tony Perkins. Up next, we're going to talk